Hi guys, and welcome back to Irony Completed. So, new location. I have come home early from university for Easter, so this is my bedroom at home. This week I thought I would talk to you guys about keeping a journal. I have kept a journal for about 2 years now. I keep two different kinds. I keep one where I write down my thoughts and feelings and what I've been doing, and the classic kind of diary style. But I also keep a sketchbook journal. I wanted to help any of you who've struggled to write a journal in the past or who want to get started. My biggest tip about keeping a journal is not to force yourself to write in it every single day. I've fallen into the trap before, and I think that a lot of people do, which is why they never end up keeping up with journals, where I forced myself to write a diary entry every single day. And I'd get bored very, very quickly because I'd run out of things to say. I think that if you just encourage yourself to write maybe 2 or 3 entries a week, then that's much more useful. Following on from this, my second tip would be to not be afraid to write down exactly what you're feeling if you are keeping the writing kind of journal. Once again, I've started writing a journal, but then I've been too afraid to actually write down that I'm upset with a specific person, or that I'm angry, or that I'm feeling depressed again, or something like that. I think that the best thing to do is to remind yourself that no one else is going to read it. This is your journal. Actually, writing down how you truly feel can be incredibly cathartic and therapeutic, especially if there's no one that you feel like you can tell these things to. So my main point is, don't be afraid to be honest, because this is for you and for no one else. Do you want to keep a journal? Oh, sure. My third tip isn't exactly compulsory, but it's something that can encourage people who have struggled to keep a journal in the past to keep up with it. I really like writing on pretty notepads, and if I buy a pretty notepad with the intention of using it for a journal, then I'm much more likely to keep up with it. Of course, you can keep a journal in any kind of notebook. It doesn't have to be anything special, but I just find it encourages me to write. So here's some examples of journals that I've kept. This is my current journal. It is a fabric-bound book from Paperchase. My cat's tail is getting on in the picture. I also write in things like this, which is just a thin paper-bound book with Moomins on the front. If you want to write in something cute and you think it'll help, but you can't afford to buy things from Paperchase because it can be quite expensive, look in supermarkets or in WH Smith. You can usually find cute, cheap and cheerful kinds of things like this. Following on from that, I also think that writing in colourful pens or having a special journal pen can also help encourage you to keep up with a journal. You can buy colourful gel pens pretty cheap from supermarkets, and you can probably even still get those smelly ones that we had in the 90s. That would definitely encourage me to keep writing in a journal. The pen that I use is a special fountain pen that my mum bought me for my birthday, a Lamy or a Lamy, L-A-M-Y fountain pen, and it has pink ink in it. So again, doesn't have to be as expensive as this or anything spectacularly special, but if it helps encourage you to keep up with journaling, then maybe try out colourful pens or a special journal pen like that. My next tip, I've forgotten the number, would be to look online for prompts when you're getting started with a journal. I'm so used to writing in a journal now that usually I just write in a stream of consciousness style, but say you're struggling to write because you don't know how to get started, then there's lots of things online that you can find quite easily that give you prompts to start writing, that ask you questions like, did you do anything exciting? How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? And don't get too hung up on your journal being especially coherent, because it's not something that's gonna, get graded or read. Also, don't get too obsessed with keeping your journals neat. And this also applies to if you're keeping a sketchbook journal as well. If you're keeping a sketchbook journal, then don't worry about completing finished, beautiful masterpieces in there. You can have as many scrappy, half-finished ideas as you want. My penultimate tip would be to take your journals with you. I don't mean necessarily to take them every single place that you go, but I usually carry around my sketchbook journals wherever I go, just because that way you can immediately write down any ideas or draw what you see, and also they're really fun when you're stuck in a waiting room or on public transport or something. I also take my writing journal with me whenever I go somewhere for longer than a few days. My final tip is for people who feel like they can't keep a journal because someone will try to read it or invade their privacy. Journals usually are very private things. It doesn't mean they have to be. Firstly, you should have a talk with that person about privacy and boundaries, because it's not okay for someone to go into your room and read about your personal life. Secondly, there are places that you can hide your diaries, but I've kept mine under pillows before, under my bed, behind other books on a bookshelf, etc, etc. And you can also obviously buy diaries that need keys or that need passcodes, etc to get into. Okay, so now that I've rambled on at you for a while, I will show you a little bit from my diaries / journals, and hopefully that will give you guys some tips maybe, or some inspiration. So these are my journals. I'm sorry if there's cat hairs on my bed. I did like lint roller it before I filmed this, but having a black cat with white bed sheets is never smart. These two are the sketchbook journals that I've had, and these are two of my writing journals, not all of them. I also had another notebook like this one, kind of. This one's one that I'm not really going to show. This is my current writing journal, as I said. One thing that I like to do with all of my journals is do a title page, which is probably pretty lame, but I like it. And I like to write when I started the journal and when I finished it on there. And just to illustrate the kinds of things that I'm writing about in this, here's the pages where I wrote my New Year's resolutions, which I always do every year in a journal. Other than just my New Year's resolutions, here's a page that's about how I've been getting on with my exercise lately and whether it's improving my body image or not. Also talking about growing out my hair again. Plans for the future as well, so things I'm doing later on in the week. This is my Friday the 13th page. Sometimes I write more than once in one day. Here I'm talking about a poem that I read that really spoke to me. That's talking about insomnia, and if anything that comes to my mind while I'm writing, I will write it down, which I think is the best way to keep a journal, at least for me. These, like I said, are my sketchbook journals. This is my current one, and this is one that's full now, as you can see. These are Moleskines, which my dad always buys me. There's my cat again. You can just literally get any kind of blank inside notebook. Just to illustrate what I meant about not being too preoccupied with keeping sketchbook or writing journals neat, I just want to show you, these are the kinds of things that I would draw when I first got this notebook, so full drawings, and then towards the end, I did stuff like this, which is just a lipstick page. Did stuff like this, which is just, straight from my brain kind of stuff. One of the things that's good if you carry something like this around with you in your handbag, because they are small enough to fit in a handbag, is you can use them as autograph books if you happen upon any famous people, which I used it for an autograph book. I used it for an autograph book when I met Daniel Radcliffe. Then I also used it for an autograph book when I went to the BAFTAs in 2012. This is empty, partly empty. This one I've also been carrying around with me quite a lot. I'm covering up my phone number there. Again, just to illustrate the different kinds of things you can do with journals. These are ideas for a children's story. Experiments with different medium. This is drawings that I did in charcoal, Marla and the narrator from Fight Club. Like how I'm feeling in the same way that I write in my journal. Sometimes I'll draw it in this instead. You can obviously keep a journal that is for both writing and drawing. That's totally fine. Another kind of diary entry style comic that I did, or diary style drawings, so about me spending my entire student loan on Costa Christmas drinks.
A lot of this sketchbook is mermaids. My favourite thing to do in sketchbooks is studies though, so I did a whole series of different hairstyles. This is another great reason to carry around a sketchbook. I draw people that I see that I think look cool. So this is a girl who was in one of my classes last year. Another person that's in one of my classes. Another picture of another person in my class. I'm a stalker. In the same way that I do stream of consciousness writing, I do stream of consciousness drawing, so I do this clown. Lyric drawings again. I like to write next to my drawings. Apparently I just can't draw today. WTF, this isn't okay. WTF am I doing right now? Seriously.
If this has inspired you to keep up with your journal or to start one, then please give this video a thumbs up. If you want to follow me on any social media, they'll all be linked down in the description. Please subscribe to my channel, it'll help me out so much, and thank you so much for all the people who have been subscribing over these past few weeks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!